The OnePlus 8 series is here, offering a range of upgrades over the only 6 months old OnePlus 7T. From design to internal specifications, it's clear that the OnePlus 8 is an awesome phone, and well worth buying if you have the cash. But OnePlus is also still selling the OnePlus 7T, and it's quite a bit cheaper than the 8. While the OnePlus 8 currently comes in at $700, the OnePlus 7T has been discounted to only $500, which makes for a difference of a hefty $200. So which device should you buy? Should you settle for the OnePlus 7T or shell out the extra cash for the newer OnePlus 8? I put the two phones head to head to find out. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps support my work and I would appreciate that support. The first thing to note about these two phones is their design, and they're a little different in that respect. While the OnePlus 7T offered a pretty modern design thanks to its small teardrop notch, the OnePlus 8 takes things a step further with a hole punch cutout in the top right for the front-facing camera. It's a subtle change, but it's effective, and I think it looks a lot better. The OnePlus 8's display is also a little more curved around the edges, which I think is a nice look too. That said, OnePlus's edge detection isn't great, and I often found myself triggering aspects of the software without meaning to. The back of the phones look pretty different too. The OnePlus 7T had a relatively large circular camera bump, which I don't think looked all that great. And the OnePlus 8 gets rid of that in favor of a vertically aligned camera bump that's also a little more flush with the rest of the phone's body. The two phones also come in slightly different colors, but they all look great. The OnePlus 7T comes in glacial blue and frosted silver, while the OnePlus 8 comes in interstellar glow and glacial green. I particularly like the interstellar glow, despite the fact that it's a bit of a fingerprint magnet. On the left of both phones, you'll get a volume rocker, while the right is where you'll get a ringer switch and a power button. And on the bottom, you'll find a SIM tray and a USB-C port. You unfortunately won't find a headphone jack on either of these two phones. The display on the two phones is very similar, and they both look great. Both devices offer a 1080p display with a 90Hz refresh rate, and while a higher resolution 1440p display would have been nice here, it makes sense that you have to shell out a little extra cash for that. And the display still looks awesome. It's an AMOLED display, so you still get nice, deep black levels and colors generally look good. Then there's performance, and the OnePlus 8 is easily the winner here. The OnePlus 8 offers a Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 processor, coupled with either 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, or 12GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. The 7T, on the other hand, has a last generation Snapdragon 855 processor, with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. In day-to-day use, both phones perform well, including during mobile gaming. Of course, benchmarks tell the real difference in performance between the devices, with the OnePlus 8 clearly winning in both Geekbench 5 and Antutu. But the fact remains that most users will be perfectly happy with the performance of the OnePlus 7T and the OnePlus 8. The battery life on these two phones is actually pretty similar, but not identical. The battery capacity varies, with the OnePlus 8 offering a 4300 mAh battery, and the OnePlus 7T having a 3800 mAh battery. Despite the higher capacity, however, both phones should easily get you through a full day of use. In my battery test, which involves playing a 1080p YouTube video at full brightness over Wi-Fi for 3 hours, the OnePlus 8 ended the test with 76%, while the OnePlus 7T ended with 72%. Safe to say, if a longer battery life is important to you, then the OnePlus 8 is probably a better device. Unfortunately, neither of the two phones has wireless charging, though they do both have OnePlus's Warp Charge fast charging tech. For wireless charging in a OnePlus phone, you'll have to get the much more expensive OnePlus 8 Pro. Then there's the camera. Camera quality has always been one of the trade-offs of buying a OnePlus phone over other flagship devices, and the same remains true here. The OnePlus 7T offered a triple lens camera with one 48-megapixel main sensor, one 12-megapixel telephoto lens, and one 16-megapixel ultra-wide lens. The OnePlus 8, on the other hand, has a 48-megapixel main lens, a 16-megapixel ultra-wide lens, and a 2-megapixel macro lens. Now, I much prefer the versatility of the telephoto lens on the 7T to the macro lens on the OnePlus 8, and I can't understand why OnePlus would have gotten rid of the telephoto lens in favor of a macro lens. That said, normal photos on the OnePlus 8 are better than the OnePlus 7T. They're not up to the same level as devices like the iPhone 11 Pro or the Pixel 4, but the OnePlus 8 still has a decent camera. The speakers are relatively similar too, but the OnePlus 8 speakers do seem to have a little more depth to them. They can get a little louder than the OnePlus 7T too, though they really can both get relatively loud. Here's a quick comparison of the speakers between the two phones. Note, this isn't how they'll sound in real life, as things like my microphone, my room, and your speakers will impact audio quality. At least, however, you can get an idea of the difference between the two. The software experience on OnePlus phones has always been pretty good, and that remains true here. In fact, the overall experience between the OnePlus 7T and the OnePlus 8 is almost identical, save for one key difference. OnePlus has finally replaced the OnePlus shelf with the Google feed. Now, it's possible the company will bring this feature to the OnePlus 7T through a software update down the line, but for now, the OnePlus 8 is the only device with the feature. It's no surprise that the OnePlus 8 is the winner here. It has better performance, a slightly better design, and more. But is it worth the extra $200? Well, that depends. If you're looking for a near flagship quality phone and want to spend as little as possible, then the OnePlus 7T is definitely the way to go. That said, if you do have the cash, the OnePlus 8 will likely last a little longer than the OnePlus 7T, thanks to its better processor. Plus, it may get software updates for longer and has a better battery life. Thanks for watching, and again, please subscribe to this channel if the video was helpful to you. My name is Christian, and I'll see you next time. See ya.